Welcome to Stockradar Stocks in the Move. Today's date is the 31st of July 2024. My name is Richard Lee and I'm managing stockradar.com.au website there. Well, surprise, you've seen me today. I'm off travelling tomorrow. I'm going to be away for about 10 days or so. I thought I might try and do a video next week, but where I am it might be a bit tricky. So I'm going to take the opportunity to take a week off, clear my head a bit and come back to you on Thursday the 15th with a fresh look at some stocks. Okay, so today's date, what we're looking at today really is a super ASX Stock Trends. Okay, so in fact, that when I mentioned the date there before, I know I've mentioned the wrong dates the last couple of weeks. I've been sort of a week out. I don't know where I've been, but I think I now know what the date is today, 31st of July. Tomorrow is the 1st of the 8th when I go away. So sorry about that, but here we are. We're back on track again. So super ASX Stock Trends, there are plenty of them. There's plenty of them where I reside in the top 200. So we'll have a look at a few of those today. Some of the positive thoughts this week. Well, the amazing banks still surprise us. CBA keeps making new highs. Westpac, NAB, ANZ a bit of a lag, it'll catch up at some stage. Consumer support and services stocks are also looking very interesting on my sectors, and diversified financials. There's a good group of stocks there starting to accumulate in there, which is interesting. So that whole financial market is keeping our markets fairly robust, as opposed to the tech side in America. So there's a little pocket of difference at the moment. So secondly, there are many strong trends on offer, as I've just mentioned, both old and new. Lots of stuff coming on board, ones that have run on a long way. So just keep an eye on it, keep your head, and you'll be able to make some money out of some of these trends. I'm going to try and give you a few tips on staying on the straight and narrow today. Okay, so let's just have a look at some of the stocks today. Top 10. It's a really interesting bunch today. We've got ALQ, which has raced to the top there. You can see that there. We'll have a little bit of a look at that later on. Amcor's has rocketed back again after looking fairly docile there for a while. We've got Bendigo Bank making new highs. CBA, IAG's done really well. JB Hi-Fi's new highs. NAB. We've got Newmont, T&E, Ventia Services, all in the top 10 there, and all having a nice time at the moment. So they're looking pretty good, the top 10 stocks. There's more of those on trading stocks in the high areas on Stockradar for you to have a look at. Our stock pick count is actually down 1 this week. Not a stock, but an index we lost this week, or an ETF. Stocks are the same, 46 stock picks and 155 stocks covered. Okay, so that's the market, how it looks at the moment. Now let's go to the overseas markets and see what we've got. We've had a fairly tough, interesting couple of weeks. So the Dow's been quite strong, and the other ones have been quite weak. So the Dow's making new highs again at the moment on great volume, which is a great sign. I think we look at the Dow for some reason as a sentiment indicator, but then we look at the Nasdaq, and it's the tech heavy one, of course, and it's come down quite considerably. And there's been a bit of selling here, so they're back testing the strength of these buyers. Again, we've got a support bubble down here we can look at. It's really hard to sort of know where we sort of chop out. At a certain point, you've got to say this is a neutral area. So this area here, we've got some horizontal resistance line, we've got an uptrend line, we've got the moving average, all pointing around here to a bit of support there. So we've got plenty of downside to potentially go yet before we get too shaky. The S&P 500. Similar situation, good support below it. It's coming back. We're seeing some good selling here. Again, it's probably not a bad thing at the moment because we've gone up so far, just to bring this market back a bit and get a little bit of blow a bit of that froth off the market there. But generally, selling's still there. Momentum is still pretty good, as you can see. We've had the little bounce before, so I'm not too worried at the moment. If it starts to go down below, then I'll start to think about worrying a little bit. But again, this is an index. I don't trade it. It's just an indication for you guys to have a look at. Okay, so now we can go to the ASX 200, our market, which is making new highs. Okay, so it's up again today, I would think, but it's making new highs. It's trying to establish itself above this high here. It has above the all-time highs. It went sideways for a couple of months, but it's now starting to break up again. Again, those financials have been really pushing us as a lot of the resource stocks have been weighing. BHP, Fortescue have all weighed a little bit on our index, so the banks keep propping us up. So the ASX 200 is looking okay at the moment. Okay, now we go to the commodities. Again, gold is holding up pretty well, trying to punch through those highs there. Hasn't really done it yet, but still holding pretty well. We've got some fresh selling, which has slowed the advance, but again, a fairly healthy sort of interaction between buyers and sellers at the moment, just to make sure there's not a one-way ride there. Copper, well, it just went bang, and as copper does sometimes. It did it over here. Started 2022, it's done it again, mid-23, mid-24, and it really is piling down here. If it's a good selling here, not enormous selling compared to some of this buying that pushed it up, but the price has dropped, and that's not really a good sign. It means the buyers have withdrawn completely, and the sellers are just trying to get out when they can. So really want to stand aside from it at the moment, let it find its feet. It may be down lower yet before it really does. Okay, sadly it's a barometer. We know Dr. Copper, so that's a bit of a warning shot there. Brent crude on the other side of it, also not a lot of demand for this stuff. Plenty of selling going on. It's really struggling, lower highs. So really nothing there for us as far as uptrend traders there. This is pretty neutral, just starting to sag down here below momentum, and as I said, the volume here in the selling is quite high. So those commodities, gold is looking okay, the other two not so good. Okay, so that's the top 10 stocks. Now what I want to just go through some of our stocks now. We've got the Fisher & Paykel, the first one I'm going to have a look at, which is one we've been following for a while. It's just edging higher and higher, making its move. We had a bit of selling here, which didn't really kick it back too much. Fairly healthy, as I said, but volumes here again, and also momentum, and it's well above the average. So it looks okay to test R2. That's what we would be looking for at the moment. But we just follow with our stop to make sure we're going to be okay. Okay, that's Fisher & Paykel's looking okay at the moment. Telix Pharmaceuticals, which has had a fantastic run for us. So it's now up around 1930. I think it's probably come back a bit today with the tech market coming back a bit, but that's okay. As long as it's still above our stop, we've still got a good profit in here. 10 intensity rating remains +9. All markets go up and down, as we know, so we're having a little bit of a down phase there, and that's fine. We don't worry about it until our stop goes off. So that's for the moment there. We've got to lock into good profit even down here at the moment. Hopefully we'll probably lift that again this week. But you'll have to wait and see on Monday as to where those stops go. But a good little trade for us, this one, and it's performed very well, and it's jumped very sharply from around about $12 to $20, which is pretty good. Okay, Goodman Group, again, just talking about these super trends that keep going on and on and on. We've had a big down week last week. It's recovering again. We've tightened the stop on this one because we've got a big profit to protect. We don't mind getting stopped out. We can always go again on a new high. But this volume here is not really telling us much. Momentum has just slowed a bit there, as you can see, and we're coming back towards the average, but no real trouble there. So Goodman's still +7 here. It's got a little bit sideways for the last month or so, so we've seen a bit of puff go out of it, and the trend intensity rankings come down a little bit, but it still remains strong, as most indications are looking okay there. So that's Goodman Group, it looks okay. Now we can go to Insurance Australia. I was actually going to have a look at GQG, but we've seen that a few times, and that's one that's done very well. Like Goodman as well, I thought they've done very well. So looking at Insurance Australia again, I mean, it's just been so strong since the start of June. It's gone from 6.20 to 7.20. It's up nearly $1. So don't know what this is all about. And again, I'm not going to question why, but as long as we can profit from, that's the main thing. The market's going up, good volume, momentum's good, the average is good. You just keep raising your stop on this one. Let me just put a name to a face here. Insurance Australia, there it is, and it's getting a bit behind us, this tagger. This trend has gone on since May, so it's gone on for over a year, this trend, which is pretty handy for us. So we just keep taking that, take a little bit of yield on this one, and the capital growth has been fantastic, or the trending growth, which is what we look for. Okay, Cochlear, another one, had a pause, but it's back testing the highs again, which is looking pretty good. Got a bit of volume here last week, pushed that right up to the highs again. So a really interesting situation here for Cochlear. Certainly worth hanging on for this one here. We've got our stop here, just below all these lows along here. If it goes below here, we're not too happy about it, but that's where it is at the moment. And the trend still remains up. We're just going through a bit of a pause here, but it looks like we're trying to break higher again if this market goes up. And some of these other health stocks go up, with CSL looking a bit better. This may well go again. So keep your eye on that one, or hold your position on that one for Cochlear. T&E is another one which has really gone gangbusters. It made a new high again, had a big pause, made a new high, and has just jumped beautifully as the market imbalance takes control of this. There's heavily weighted towards the buyers here, so the price has gone up. There's been some very good volume, good momentum here. So that's a really solid move, this one, on Technology One. So again, just raise your stop on this one and keep that profit locked in. Pro Medicus, which has had a bit of A bit more of a checkered trade the last couple of weeks. It's come off from its highs. It's up again today. Actually, I don't know if it's up again today. It was up again so far this week. But we've had good trades on this one, and it'll be interesting to see how this trade develops as well. We've got our stop up here. We'll be tightening that up shortly. But it's certainly in a good uptrend at the moment. There's no real problem there. It's above the average. Volume is still pretty good at the moment, pretty healthy. Momentum is still pretty high on the scale. So to me, it still holds there. And the trend intensity rating is 10 as it broke up, turned around last week. So that was a good sign actually that it jumped to 10 again. Okay, so that's Pro Medicus. Next DC is probably, these are a couple we want to watch very carefully. Next DC, we had a trade in this one up here. We've then got a new high up here, which was a couple of weeks ago, which is looking pretty struggling at the moment. So these things happen, but when these things happen, it's important to recognise them. And if you need to chop out, you chop out. So we've got our stop in place here, and that's where we will protect what we've got. We do have a small trade here. There'll be nothing much in here for us if it breaks down, but at least we'll be getting out and doing the right thing, minimising our loss and moving on, and that's what we do. Okay, so we can see the sellers have hit this market here, momentum's gone out of it, so all of a sudden things might have changed a little bit, especially when we look at this little pattern over here. So this might be a bit of a toppy pattern we're seeing for next DC. So again, these stocks can go up fast, but they can also come down very fast. So be very, very careful of that one. Okay, Flight Centre, which we looked at a week or so ago, looked like it was ready to rumble and kick right through those highs. But no, it's come back pretty suddenly. I think it was a profit report that came out or some guidance that knocked it on the head, and the buyers got shaky knees and the sellers took control and banged it down again. But it's not over yet. We're still in this high-low pattern, and we've got this big resistance pattern across here, which goes back quite a way. So it's a fairly important line, this one up at R1. So we'll keep looking at this. We've got some good volume here that pushed this rally here. Okay, this is a bit of nervous selling here. We've got momentum's just turning positive and it's above the average. So the bias is up. You can see trend intensity rating rated at +1. So we don't need too much to get it a positive rating, and that will be if we get above R1. So it may not. We'll wait and see. We're in the lovely position of being able to wait and watch and see what happens. Okay, so that's a couple we just want to worry about. If you've got stocks out there that are looking so bad, you've got to make sure you take your loss, swallow your ego, whatever it is, just make sure you do the right thing. And that's what we all have a little bit of trouble doing sometimes, but we know how tough it can be. But when stops go off, they go off, and invariably they're right. And if you don't listen to it, your loss will grow, and then it's harder and harder to claw back the bigger it gets. Okay, that's my theory. Okay, and I put it into practice. Okay, the next one I'm looking at is ALS, which we looked at there at the start there, but it's just made simply for you just to have a look at this one. This is probably in the early stages of this pattern now. It's just made a new high. It's broken out of a big range. It was $10 to $14, so you'd probably look for a $4 rally at least on this rally. But again, I always follow with the stop. But still, trend intensity rating of 10. It's broken to new highs. Volume is really looking good. Momentum is looking good. They don't look much better than this. So this one is there for you, I think, in the early stages. So ALS looks pretty good to me. The next one I will probably look at is Steadfast. Again, another one which turned around a bit like Amcor the other day. It broke up, then it flattened off right down, and then all of a sudden it took off again. And this one we didn't get an entry here until recently, but it was looking pretty woeful here. Then all of a sudden it just turned around and jumped, and that's a pretty good sign to me. I mean, something's changed in there somewhere. That's changed the buyers and seller behaviour. Sellers have backed off, buyers have jumped in there, and we've created a new all-time high. So we get a new all-time high on good volume with good momentum and above the average. We buy it. So that's where Steadfast is, and again, it's had a very, very, pretty good history, long-term history of rising. This is going back to 2020. This was COVID back here, so we're well and truly past all that, and it's had a nice little consolidation and is now breaking out of it. So it looks like a pretty good odds-on play to me here, Steadfast. Okay, so they're the couple of little tips for you I've got for the moment. There's a couple of warning shots there with Next DC and Flight Centre, and some other good trends there with Goodman and Telex and a few of those ones there. Okay, so now I just want to go to a couple of slides for you today just to sort of reinforce what I do. Stock uptrends. We're talking about uptrends today. You can see there's a lot of them. I haven't even gone through half of them yet. There's just proliferation of really good trends, West Farmers and Westpac, all sorts of stocks there for you to capitalise on. But where I start from, where I actually start my picture, the theory that stocks rise in the pattern of higher and lows. That's what uptrends are about. And for the most part, that is a very true and accurate statement. Okay, when they stop doing it, they usually turn around. Okay, as a rule of thumb, it's a very reliable indicator. Okay, so for me, my first filter always is to say, is the stock rising in the pattern of higher highs and higher lows? If it is, that is in an uptrend. And so you go from there. So that's a really good starting point. It's a very valid, basic, fundamental price action. And we just need to start there. We just need to keep our heads clear as we can to be able to trade these sort of things properly. And I talk a bit about this in the newsletter. Why can some people capitalise on new highs and some people can't? It can be all sorts of reasons why, and I go into that a little bit in the newsletter this week, which is out today, by the way. So that's there for you to read over the next couple of weeks if you want to while I'm away. I will be still updating the Trading Centre for next week. I think I can manage that. So anyway, that's my first filter there, okay, for my trends. Okay, so that's just a little word of wisdom for you. I think I mentioned I'm away next week. Okay, I won't be back till the 15th. You can always subscribe to my blog if you want some reading. Take up a free trial, look at the site, and you have some questions for me when I get back. And also you can get an idea of where my stops are. And some of these stocks here that you're looking at the moment, there's a couple there which I've drawn on the chart, but a couple that I haven't. All the stops are reset every week on Stockradar for you to have a look at. Okay, so don't worry about the stocks going down. There's 46 and 155 going up are the ones we focus on. The other ones we don't. Clarity of mind is key to focusing on this simple technique. So you just got to keep a clear mind. Don't worry about other things and the fearful things. Just keep your focus on those important things like high highs and high lows, and you'll do okay in the end. Okay, so that's it for me today. Just a quick punchy one today for you. I hope you're enjoying the week. The market's doing really well. I hope you got onto some good stocks. So watch your trends, heed your stops, stay safe for the next couple of weeks, and I'll see you, as I say, in 2 weeks' time. Thanks very much.